when the moon shall have faded from the sky. And the sun shall shine at noonday, a dull cherry red. And the ice cap shall have crept downward to the equator from either pole. When all cities shall have long been dead, and all life shall be on the very verge of extinction on the globe, then on a bit of lichen growing on the bald rocks beside the eternal snows of Panama shall be seated a tiny insect, preening its antennae in the glow of the worn-out sun, representing the sole survivor of animal life in this our earth, a melancholy bug. It could happen. After all, the odds favor the bug over man by at least 500,000 to 1.
Lives there a man with hide so dead, who never to himself has said, "Ouch"? If the odds were always 1 to 1, or even a mere 100 to 1, and if insect attacks were always right out in the open, we wouldn't have much trouble conquering the insects in simple, direct combat. But a conservative estimate of the odds is closer to 500,000 to 1 in favor of the insects. 85 million gnats have been caught in one insect trap in a single night. 20 million plant lice may live on a single tree. Entire forests can be destroyed by millions of bark beetles, each about the size of a grain of wheat. Of course, the insect hordes include many friends of man, too. But friend or foe, we must face one phenomenal fact: their fantastic power to multiply. For instance, the descendants of one pair of houseflies, during the 6 months of one spring and summer, would number 191 million, if all of them lived and reproduced normally. That's equivalent to a layer of flies 4.5 feet deep and 300 flies to the cubic inch, covering the entire United States. But only a minute fraction of them survive. In fact, only a very small fraction of all insect life survives, thanks to the balance in nature. Nature, undisturbed, has her own way of controlling the numbers of every species of plant and animal. Insects eat the plants. Insects eat other insects. Birds and other animals eat the insects. And so it goes, on and on, this marvelous balance in nature, which generally prevents any living thing from dangerously overpopulating the earth. When we violently upset this natural balance, however, as we frequently and inevitably do with our civilized ways of life, we bring tremendous troubles with insect pests upon ourselves. Man-made insect problems that demand man-made answers. And while solving them, we must also reckon with still another overwhelming advantage the insects possess: their remarkable adaptability to changing conditions. For example, 250 million years before man appeared on this earth, the roach was already doing mighty well, thank you. Our earth has seen many major changes since then. During the last million years, the age of man, whole species of men have been erased from the earth by the destructive forces of nature. But the roach, displaying the insect's remarkable adaptability to change, has survived it all, practically unchanged in form. Many species have even adapted to the habits of man. And the insecticides that kill insects today may not phase the same species a year from now. Insects develop immunities to specific control measures almost as fast as man invents new ones. Complicating the solution of our insect problems are the amazing varieties in the life cycles of insects. For example, the silverfish, one of the most primitive insects to be seen in America today, has a simple two-stage life cycle. The egg and the adult. Some of the more advanced insect forms, like the stink bug, have a three-stage life cycle. The egg, the nymph, which grows through several phases of partial metamorphosis during immaturity, and the adult. Finally, there are the advanced modern insects, the comparatively recent insects that have only been around for a mere 150 million years. They develop through complete metamorphosis in a complex four-stage life cycle. The egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. The larvae of some insects are better known by other names like maggots and grubs, worms and caterpillars. Many insects are most destructive in this larval stage. In one or another of their almost infinite forms, insects live everywhere. They number more separate species through a greater range of shapes and sizes than all the rest of the animal kingdom put together. Insects are far and away our greatest rivals in the struggle for survival and mastery of the earth. Our insect enemies compete with us for everything we raise, whether it be food or fiber. Not only do they eat our plants, but at the same time, many of them also spread virus diseases from plant to plant. They ravage our fruit and attack our trees. They feed on our livestock and our pets and ourselves, and spread filth and disease among us and our animals. They attack much of what we build and many of the things we manufacture. The average bug bill paid by the United States each year is about $4 billion. While fighting our insect enemies, however, we must be careful not to destroy our insect friends that cross-pollinate our trees and plants and serve in many other ways that are beneficial to man. We must recognize and understand them and encourage their activities within the limits of their usefulness. Probably the least known and most misunderstood of our insect friends are the predatory ones, which destroy our insect enemies. These predators are the lions and tigers of the insect world. And even more interesting and helpful to us than the predators are the parasitic insects. They lay eggs on or in the larvae and adults of other insects. The eggs hatch and the parasite's larvae feed on the host. Some of the flies and wasps are a great hand at this, and some are extremely well equipped for it too. This one can penetrate several inches of wood with her long thread-like egg layer in order to parasitize wood-boring larvae. Actually, our insect friends and enemies deserve no credit nor blame for helping or harming us. They are simply living their own lives and thus maintaining the fundamental balance in nature. But many of our insect enemies multiply disproportionately when we disturb the natural balance in order to advance our civilization. We clear the natural growth from vast reaches of land and plant domesticated crops in millions of ordered rows, concentrated masses of food that invite infestation. While clearing and plowing and cultivating, we have destroyed the natural habitats of the predatory animals who might prey on the invaders. Yet every year we must raise more food and fiber and timber. The very survival of our civilization depends on our agriculture and our forestry. To suit our convenience, we clear other large areas of natural life in order to build towns and cities. Our homes, stores, and factories, clustered closely together, are easy marks continually tempting invasion by the insect enemies who thrive on man and his possessions. Yet this too we must do. It is essential to the established patterns of our lives. Our only answer is to wage constant battle with the bugs. This must be intelligent, organized, well-planned warfare that does not interfere with the good work of our insect friends, nor harm ourselves. Our methods must not create more problems than they solve. Headquarters and information center for all phases of our insect warfare is the United States Department of Agriculture's Bureau of Entomology and Plant Quarantine. Working in cooperation with private industry, state and local governments and colleges, the Bureau helps us wage the battle against the bugs with great care after thorough study and organization. This includes the continual development and publication of information to help make us battle-wise. Such collaboration of effort on a national scale ensures that our methods and weapons are harmless to us, our food, and our soil. Using this proper caution and skilled guidance, we must fight our insect enemies with every weapon our imagination and science can devise. Our weapons of mechanical warfare against the insects run the gamut from this old standby to the application of electronics, radiant energy, and supersonics, infrared and ultraviolet light, X-rays and gamma rays, radio and ultra-high frequency sound waves, even atomic radiation. Traps are among the oldest weapons in our war with the insects. The simple traps familiar in years gone by have given way to more modern and effective traps. Simple insect barriers are many and varied. They are reliable defensive maneuvers in our battle with the bugs. We drain or fill swamps and straighten creek channels to eliminate stagnant waters where our insect enemies breed. Garbage and sewage collection and disposal are important phases of our mechanical warfare. A well-planned plowing job at exactly the right time, with natural air support from the birds, will annihilate many species of burrowing grubs and larvae that spend part of their lives underground. In these methods, as in all phases of our battle with the bugs, agricultural colleges, experimental stations, extension services, and county agents render exceptionally valuable service and provide reliable guidance. In recent years, chemical warfare against the insects has become widespread. Chemical warfare provides immediate relief from insect attack and infestation, and the residual effects of insecticides are extremely valuable in preventive warfare and sanitation. Chemical warfare is quick death to our enemies, whether used on a small scale or on a large scale. Of all our weapons, insecticides are the most adaptable and effective for achieving quick results, especially in times of emergency. With insecticides, vast areas can be treated in a short time, an outstanding advantage in our warfare against the insects. Backing up the battle all along the line are the laboratories of industry, government, and colleges in which research scientists are constantly developing and testing new insecticides to further the fight tomorrow. Under carefully controlled conditions, they take great pains to breed and raise healthy, sturdy insects. Tough, hard-to-kill little animals that might well be considered the blue ribbon livestock of the insect world. Then, with equal patience, under carefully controlled conditions, they systematically kill these superb specimens in the never-ending search for more powerful and useful insecticides. This research must go on and on without let-up. Time after time, our insect enemies continue to demonstrate their abilities to develop resistance and immunity to specific insecticides. Perhaps the most long-range and strategical phase in our conquest of the bugs are quarantine measures, which have become increasingly prevalent in recent years. Potential insect migrations and infestations are stopped at the national border line, state lines, even right at the county line in some unusual cases. Quarantine measures include the thorough inspection and fumigation of incoming ships, trains, trucks, and planes and their cargoes in order to destroy insect hitchhikers. If these practices had been in use a century or two ago, numerous foreign insect invaders would be considerably less prevalent in the United States. Today, quarantine measures are continually retarding and reducing their spread. Still another long-range strategical phase of modern insect control is biological warfare, fighting an insect pest or infestation with its own natural enemies. An historical example occurred in 1888 when Australian cottony cushion scale insects threatened to destroy California's entire citrus industry. Australian ladybugs were imported to fight them, and the citrus scales have been under control ever since. Insects are subject to certain contagious virus, bacterial, and fungus diseases, which are harmless to man. Entomologists are learning how to start deadly epidemics of these diseases among insect pests. Another form of biological warfare is to discover, transplant, and encourage the activities of parasites that are known to attack and destroy the insect enemies we want to be rid of. Several species of small minnows and other top-feeding fish thrive on the larvae of mosquitoes and gnats. These minnows are being bred and raised in great numbers for distribution far and wide. Relocated in infested waters, they quickly dispatch the insect pests. The ingenuity and expanding variety of the weapons we're already using and the ones we're developing certainly indicate that man is not doomed to extinction by the insects. They do have the potential power to crowd us off the earth altogether. They wage the struggle for survival in wondrous ways and by marvelous means. The almost infinite scope of their activities, their incredible numbers of species, their immense powers of adaptability and multiplication are fantastically greater than ours. But on our side are imagination, vision and foresight, education, research, and the organized knowledge of science. With these, we can keep the balance in our favor. We may never eradicate a single species of insect from this earth, but we will hold the upper hand.